Hello and welcome to my book talk on the comic Lady Mechanika, written by Joe Benitez. My name is Josh Evanson. I am an aspiring graduate student. Actually, I already have a bachelor's degree in international relations from BYU, Idaho, and I am taking a lot of these courses to help prepare me for a master's degree in English education. So I'm really excited to be taking this course. I've really been enjoying it so far. So let's take a deep dive in here into Lady Mechanika. So Joe Benitez is the author and also the drawer of this comic. He worked on comics with DC Comics for quite a few years, working on a lot of crime and detective type stories, which is I think where he got some of the inspiration for Lady Mechanika. Now, what initially brought me to Lady Mechanika was how neat the artwork is. I really think it's very descript, very poignant, very sharp, and it was really interesting just from the outlook. You've got a strong female character. Um, Obviously, that you don't necessarily see the mechanical parts quite yet with the initial cover piece here, but it really caught my eyes kind of from the start and kind of looked like an interesting one to get into. As we look a little bit into the story of Lady Mechanika, this is issue number 0, so it's not very long. I think it's only about 7 pages, and it kind of goes into the origin story of Lady Mechanika. If we look here at our little bit of the hero's journey, because this is issue 0, it really only allows us to get into the call to adventure, supernatural aid, and kind of beginning our journey from the known into the unknown. So we'll go and take a little bit of a deeper dive into that. So the comic kind of starts off introducing us to who Lady Mechanika is. She's a huntress. She's looking, she does bounty hunting, and she's one of a lot of people looking for a monster who has been scaring off the townsfolk. She catches sight of him right here and instantly goes on to the hunt, chasing after him. She sees him. And there's something interesting about this monster. It's mechanical. It's similar to her. She's got personal reasons for wanting to look into this. She goes, head first into it, beating up this little creature guy. He's kind of a little bit half mechanical here, but also a strange creature. And as they're fighting, she comes to the moment where she says, "Don't make me kill you." And then all of a sudden, we have a big change in tone and also feeling from Lady Mechanika as a hero. As of this far, we're in her natural realm. She's a bounty hunter. She's strong. She's powerful. She goes after her prey. And then we see a little bit of humanity coming from the monster. And instantly, her reaction, we see one large eye. And she says, "What? It speaks?" And then we see a little bit of the humanity of Lady Mechanika. She's not just some rough and tough, beat everybody up, but she is a compassionate person, even going to the point of wanting to feed this monster. And she calls him little thing, my little thing, right? My little one. As they start talking to one another, she's helping him. She gives him food. She tries to help bandage up his wounds. And then they start talking, and the monster realizes that he has recognized her. He knows her. And this is where we come back to the call to adventure with some supernatural aid. Right off the get-go, our hero has a call to action, which is going to be an origin story for Lady Mechanika. Her purpose in this overall story is trying to figure out who she is, where she came from. She says, "What are you saying? You are older, but it is you. Long, long time ago, I have seen you." And she says, "Aki," which is his name, "please tell me, who am I? What's my name? Where did I come from? Please, I've been searching for so long." So we get a really neat introduction into the world just in the first couple. It's dark, it's macabre, it's a violent world. Um, and we think that this character is strong and independent, and for the most part I think she is. But the call to action is she finally finds the first piece of who she is. And of course, as things can never go right instantly, as he's about to tell her more, the townspeople who are also have been hunting this monster come in and kill the monster, which of course makes Lady Mechanica go into a rage. She fights against these guys. We're introduced to kind of a main villain. Who wants to team up with Lady Mechanica and usher in some new age of technological prowess and power. But she, of course, ignores that. She's able to beat up all the other guys who come around. The bad guy runs away. And she begins, she takes the body of the monster and is taking it for her own study to help her begin her journey to find out who she is. So that's the very end of this comic. I thought it was a really interesting story. It was a little bit violent for my personal tastes. I'm not usually a huge fan of blood and gore and things like that, but I felt like the world that Joe Benitez had made was very believable. It's kind of a um, cyberpunk type story where it's kind of like a Victorian era, and yet um, obviously the mechanical aspect of the characters is a big part of the story. As far as it being critically reviewed, the reviews that I looked up were fairly good. On the Comixology, the Amazon website, it had like a 4.6 out of 5 stars. And then on Goodreads, it had a 4, so a slightly lower rating. And some of the comments, most of the people really liked the artwork, as did I. I think this is some of the best artwork in a comic I think I've seen. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Very animated features and people, all very distinct characters, very distinct art style that it feels like a cohesive together world building all throughout. And I feel like it's a believable place for these characters to live. I would be really interested to continue reading and see a little bit more of what Joe Benitez has in mind for the world. Um, so all in all, I enjoyed it. I felt very well written. It was a little bit dialogue full as far as narration. It was the origin story, just kind of kicking off who this character is. I mean, you can see some of these panels just have speech bubble after speech bubble, but that actually really drew me into the story personally. I like a little bit more narration than less usually. And that's just from my background of having loved reading novels as a kid. But um, I enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this story. So it does a wonderful job of introducing the aspect of a hero's journey for Lady Mechanica and her origin. She's living in the world that she knows, and she's going to be starting to take the steps into the world she doesn't know, which is her past, who she is. And the call to action, of course, came from the supernatural help of the monster she had been hunting that ended up being similar to herself, half machine. So that concludes my book talk on Lady Mechanica. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.